Joe,
It's time to move on, bud.
another big treat we have.
Oh, this is bigger than big. This is superior big. Go on. I don't want you to mess up your intro. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Tracy Alston is a licensed clinical mental health counselor, a mental fitness consultant, and a board-certified in biofeedback and neurofeedback, a radio host and a podcaster for the Mental Fitness Matter show on WSIC radio station that airs weekly on Thursdays from 8:30 to 9 a.m. on 105.9, 100.7 FM, and 1400 AM. Tracy's also an entrepreneur and a founder and CEO of two companies located in Mooresville and Cornelius, New Mentality and Mental Edge Fitness Solutions. Tracy's a former basketball player and a college graduate of Wake Forest University, and she's passionate about creating innovative strategies and solutions for improving the mental health and mental fitness of her clients. Joe, we have Tracy Alston.
Now it's my turn to say something.
You, please.
I'm gonna trump all that. I love Tracy. When we put this thing together, Tracy was the number one person that we chose to kick this event off. You are getting ready for a phenomenal person, a phenomenal woman. Tracy is a person that brightens the entire room when she steps into it. It is a phenomenal coup, I should say, that we get her to start this small business event. It is it's just a great treat.
And Joe, we could probably spend an hour talking about his mental fitness, couldn't we, Tracy?
Take it away, Tracy. It's all yours.
I can't thank you guys enough, number one, for allowing me to be a part of such a spectacular event, as Joe would say. It really is truly an honor to be with you guys tonight and people joining via Zoom, Facebook. The way I normally introduce myself is a hey, hey, so I'm going to give everybody a hey, hey as I'm talking to you. Feel good, work good, and achieve intentional success. I got to say that one more time. Feel good, work good, and achieve intentional success. I love the intentionality behind the theme of tonight's program. It's so intentional. A lot of the things that I do from a business perspective, when I'm working with my families, my clients, I say the better you feel, the better you perform. The better you feel, the better you perform. So when we say feel good and put that first, recognizing the importance of how we feel dictates everything thereafter. You can't show up and work and perform at a peak level if you don't feel good on the inside. And when I got a chance and the opportunity to do this tonight, especially around the mental health awareness, in case you guys don't know, mental health is the month of May. It's Mental Health Awareness Month right now. And this past year, as you all know, has been a challenge for businesses, for families, for individuals, for children, for schools. Everyone has felt the impact of what has been COVID-19. So when we think about the importance and the necessary need to focus on our mental wellness, I don't think it's in my 11 years of clinical practice. So my background, I'm a licensed clinical mental health therapist, board certified in bio and neurofeedback. So I have ways to identify and see how the brain and body respond to stress. In my 11 years of practice, I have never heard the word stress, anxiety, depression, mental health, sleep issues, substance abuse, suicide. I've never heard those words so many times in my professional career than right now. And the sad part about that is it takes an event like COVID to bring some of the conversations that we should have been having all along to the forefront. But here we are. And I am so glad that we have the opportunity to start to talk about mental health. And my job, my passion, my purpose is to help people understand that our mental health and our mental fitness is just as important as our physical health and physical fitness. When you think about mental health and when you think about your physical health and your emotional health, your financial health, we're all on a spectrum somewhere. Think about that for a moment. We're all on a spectrum somewhere. So with all the things going on this year, before I get into what that spectrum looks like, I want you to just take a moment to pause and do a mental check-in with yourself right now. If you had to do a brief scan of your mind and a brief scan of your body, how would you say that you feel? So when you think about that mental check-in, Identify right now, do you have racing thoughts? Have you been so consumed with the work and the day-to-day, the busyness of life, the things to get done, that your mind races from one task to another? Are you scrolling through social media, Instagram, emails 24/7 without a mental break? So assess, how am I doing mentally? Scale of 1 to 10. Give yourself permission. If I was at a 10, performing at my peak, I feel clear, I feel sharp, I feel confident, I feel happy, I feel successful, I feel gratitude. If I'm on the lower end of that spectrum, I feel down, trouble getting motivated. I'm exhausted mentally, more agitated, irritated, angry, frustrated. So start to assess, how am I doing from a mental perspective? Then do a check-in with your body. From a physical perspective, how are you feeling? Are you tired? Are you fatigued? Are you sore? Do you have an injury of some sort? So when you think about your mental health and being on a spectrum, it all lines up somewhere. So we have to begin to normalize this conversation, guys, so that we know how to begin to treat it and take care of ourselves. When you think about your body and your overall physical wellness goals, you're on a spectrum somewhere. So if you're wanting to lose weight, gain weight, you put the necessary tools in place to do that, right? You do an assessment to figure out where you are, and then you put a game plan in place to get you to reach your goals. Mental health is no different. Your brain is like a muscle. It's something that can be trained and strengthened for peak performance. You can put the necessary tools in place depending on where you are on this mental health spectrum. Let's say if your mental health is declining, meaning you're feeling more sad most of the time, hard to get motivated, you're exhausted, you're tired, you're fatigued. I'm pretty sure we can all agree with those types of feelings right about now, right? Especially when we talk about our small businesses and entrepreneurs. They're the backbone of our communities. They're struggling. You got to start to not only check in with yourself, but if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, what about the mental fitness of your team? What about the mental fitness of your team? My guy, Danny Decker's coming up here next, and I'm pretty sure he's going to talk about some systems to put in place for your marketing strategy, but you need some systems to put in place for your mental fitness strategy. Because your entrepreneurs, your employees, the people that are in your family, in the school systems, there's a mental fitness dilemma going on here. People are tired and exhausted, okay? So we have to begin to say, where am I on this spectrum of mental health? If you want to get better, you want to perform better, you want to feel happier, more positive, more confident, more assertive, there's tools that we can put in place to help train your brain to really reach its peak potential. And that's what I do on a daily basis. So I encourage you, as we're starting to think about our brain being a muscle, and if that's the first time you've heard that, that's great. Because now you can begin to really do a deep dive and assessment on a daily basis. How's my brain functioning? On a day-to-day basis, am I clear? Am I focused? Am I inspired? Am I creative? Or am I bogged down? Or am I exhausted? Or I'm drained and I'm not really looking forward to the next days of life? Those are all indications of how you're going to perform and how you can perform from a longevity standpoint, okay? So feel good, work good to achieve intentional success. The better we feel, the better we perform. My companies specialize in helping people optimize their mental fitness so they can perform at their peak in what they do. So whether you're a student, whether you're an athlete, entrepreneur, business professional, stay-at-home mom, family, just trying to get through the stressors of life, you can benefit from training your brain. We all can. So when you think about our biggest asset, it's our mind. Our biggest asset is our mind. I don't care what else you have going on. If we're not taking care of ourselves, guys, from a cognitive and emotional perspective, nothing else matters. And this past year was a true test of that. I don't know if I've ever seen so much overwhelming stress from our youth. It manifests itself in so many ways, whether that's just a stomach ache, whether it's just a headache, whether it's not wanting to get out of bed, like you normally do, kind of isolated from friends and family. These are all indicators, guys, that something else may be going on, and it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to seek out supports and resources for that. My company's New Mentality and Mental Edge Fitness Solutions, we specialize in giving people alternative ways to look at the brain and body through what's called bio and neurofeedback. We can see what's going on with the brain in real time. We can see how your body's responding from a physiological standpoint as it relates to stress. With that information, we can create protocols and programs to help you get to where you want to be from maximizing your performance mentally. which then allows you to feel good, which allows you to go out here and work good, and then intentionally achieve success. So I want to give you a quick tip, all right? Quick tip, something that everybody can do, because a lot of times when we are laying in bed at night and when we wake up for the first thing in the morning, it's such an easy thing for us to do, to pick up our cell phones and start scrolling through the email list and the things that we have to do today, check social media, check your text messages. But I want to give you guys a little insight about your brain. Your brain goes through one of the most creative states that it has, which is called an alpha theta state when you're first waking up in the morning. I want to encourage you on how to use that state that you go through naturally to allow that to be a time of just calm and creativity that allows you to set the tone for your day, okay? So instead of waking up when that alarm goes off and picking up your phone and scrolling through social media, I don't want you to do that. When that alarm goes off, allow you to kind of stay in that drowsy, kind of sleepy state, but spend that first 10 to 15 minutes before you do anything else. Allow your brain to just go and create. You may be in a nice, restful, peaceful state. Just allow your thoughts to flow. Allow the alpha theta, the natural parts of the brain, to just operate and move in a direction that they want to go. You're going to become more creative. You're going to recognize, instead of being taken over by the energetic tone of the world first thing in the morning, because remember, a lot of times we're responding to emails and text messages and fires we need to put out. That can wait. A lot of times our day is dictated before you even hit the floor because you've picked up your cell phone trying to answer things that you can't control. So give yourself permission the first 5 to 15 minutes before you do anything else. Don't let that energetic tone step into your space. You set the tone. Get into a mental space, allowing yourself to rest, to get creative, to get excited about what the day's going to hold. Be intentional about what you want to accomplish for today. Start that process then. Then when you get up out of bed, you're going to be much better equipped mentally to handle whatever you're faced with. Okay, so that's my mental fitness tip for today. You can tune in to the Mental Fitness Matters show. It's also a podcast. Download it, subscribe. Please leave some feedback there. You can tune in, get some tips, strategies, and solutions to improve your mental health and mental fitness. And I encourage you guys to visit tracyalston.com. If you're listening to this right now, I want to hear from you. Reach out to me and say, I heard you on the Small Business Talk Show program on this Wednesday night. And if you reach out to me, I will give you a 15-minute free consultation to begin to have a discussion about your brain performance, your mental fitness goals, to see how I can be a support to you. I can't thank you guys enough for your time and making your mental fitness a priority in 2021. This has been a year. But allow this to be the year that the rest of your life changes, and going forward, you take care of your mental fitness so that you can best serve those that you're a part of. Thank you.
And now you see why I love Tracy Alston. She is absolutely phenomenal. Grab that mic when you come over. She is absolutely awesome. My phone is just blowing up with texts, people saying, wow, I see why you like her, Joe. Bill, this is just the beginning of what we've got for this small business event.
Joe, this afternoon, I told you to bring your A game. She brought her A game.
She brought her A game.
She brought
Tracy
her A game.
always brings her A game.
Best, Joe. I think people need to know.
I want everybody to know you're my mentee. I want everybody to understand. I believe I found Tracy. You understand that, don't you? I don't know how we met, but I remember the minute you were on the show. Yeah. The minute you were on the show, Julie sent me a text. She's going to be your next co-host. And I text her back, I agree. She's awesome. And we've just hit it off ever since then. So it is such a inspiration to see you and your business continue to grow. But before we talk about that, look in the camera. Let's tell Pops how to you.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Daddy.
I love
You're the man, Pops, and you have done a spectacular job with Tracy. We love her. So thank you so much, honey.
Thank you.
So talk a little bit about, you and I have talked about this, right?
Yes.
It's kind of up and down, right? I lost about 80 pounds, Then I started eating the duds, beans, balls, and
Balls and
pieces.
pieces.
That's
Duds,
right.
beans, balls, and pieces.
And you say, well, Joe, you can always just get right back on it again and then get started again with that. Kind of talk about that, because that kind of hit home for me, because after you grab into that box of milk duds, you're like, well, what the heck? I might as well go for the beans and the Reese's Pieces too now. And you say, no, stop there, start over again. Talk about that.
When we think about performance and accomplishing or achieving any of the goals we have set for ourselves, I think where we get in this rabbit race is that we set up for a 10-week program and you get started off on day one, you're energized, you're motivated, you're ready to go. That's why sales and marketing work well, because people get excited in the moment. And then an hour later, they're bored and they're back to doing something else. So thinking about our own goals in that way, not having to be so long and put out, let's win the moment. When we think about our brain's capacity,
win the moment.
If you went an hour and didn't pick up the duds, beans, balls, and pieces, you won the moment. And we fail to give ourselves credit for that moment because we're so focused on the long-term goal. But in the end of that, you can set yourself up for just feeling bad, feeling unaccomplished, feeling like a failure. And so as an entrepreneur and business owner, I use that same mental strategy every day, because there's ups and downs to business, there's ups and downs to life, but I'm winning moments, and that's the impact, and that's the momentum I want to build off of.
Tracy, I've gone through this year, and I've been concerned for the business owners, but I'll tell you, the thing that keeps me up at night, Joe, is I've been thinking of these 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. The social interaction, it's not just what they learn at school, it's the social interaction at school that they missed out on for over a year. Can you talk about that? Because you were sharing a little bit about the youth. That's my biggest concern.
And it's huge, and we don't even really know the impact yet, right? So the numbers really aren't in terms of what this whole pandemic is going to look like as it relates to mental health, not only for our adults, but for our youth especially. And when we think about brain development, the brain doesn't fully develop until you're around 25, 26. So there's a lot of connections being made, and a bunch of their connections are being made socially. So when we remove that component, right, and when we think about the neural networks and the connections being made, it's not necessarily happening. And so that's why we're seeing the numbers of anxiety and depression go up, because those connections are not being formed.
You hit on something.
Joe, my business career, I understood rejection from when I was in high school. That's where I learned rejection.
Right.
But so I am concerned about that, because you're right. We may not know the impact that this type of mental attitude has had on these kids until maybe a decade from now.
So listen to this. This is the text I just got. This is what you're all about. A woman texts, just had a great conversation with my daughter. We're going to start our day differently.
Oh.
That's what this is all about.
Thank
so
you
talk
for
about that,
sharing.
because it's actually speaking to what Bill's talking about as well.
Yeah. So I love whoever sent that message and the incorporation of your child in your morning routine, because when you think about being able to make a connection and an impact in that way, it is life-changing. You may not, and this is what we have to know too, that it's the small steps that make the biggest impact. It's not going to be something overnight that you see these results. Give yourself permission, step by step, moment by moment. Being intentional about the action that you're doing and being consistent with that leads to positive results.
And Tracy is the one that makes it happen. I can't thank you enough. Is there any last minute something that you would like to say to the people out there? Because it really, everybody says it. Yeah. Been a challenging year. Yeah. But really, you hit on something which is we kind of almost want to walk past it. Bill, you and I growing up, just rub some dirt on it.
Yeah.
Walk it off.
Right.
Why are you worried about that?
Right.
Well,
but
you kind of can't do that.
That's right.
With something like this.
Because every engine eventually breaks down if we don't stop in and get maintenance, right? So give yourself permission and think of yourself in your brain like the engine of your car. It needs a tune-up every now and then. You're valuable and you're worthy of the tune-up. So make sure you're doing that check-in with yourself, with your family, and then if you need additional supports, it's okay. We all do, and so just don't hesitate to reach out. Make this year a self-care priority.
And Tracy, I love the word intentional.
I do too. That's just,
thank you so much,
thank
Tracy.
you guys. Love
and
you.
that's why she was and is #1 on Small Business Week.
And I appreciate you so much.
Darling.